All right, I'm Phil Suter. I'm with Ogden City. I'm a stormwater engineer, and then I help manage some river restoration projects in the city. Also, Eric McCauley, he helps out a ton too. He's first came on with river restoration and then with McCauley Watershed. So he's monitored the rivers. He's cruised the Weber around the Ogden, kind of identified problems, a good point and shoot kind of guy. So there's a lot going on, a lot more to do. But anyway, I'm going to bombard you guys with a bunch of photos from some past projects, some current. So we'll go ahead and get going. But first off, what was Ogden City? The unique challenge is dealing with a river flowing through an urban area, right? It's a dynamic system, it's a habitat, but also we're dealing with property lines and right of way, and then stormwater discharge, trying not to pollute the river, making sure we're keeping everything healthy, and want people to enjoy the river, be drawn to it. And then the more they enjoy it, the more they're by the river, then the more they care for it. And so anyway. So there's a map just showing the two rivers we're blessed with that flow through our city. So the Weber and Ogden, the Ogden drains into the Weber just west of Marriott Slaterville. So we have the joy of having those two in our city. So yeah, first I'm going to talk about a project 15 years ago, before my time with Ogden. But it was the Ogden River Restoration Project. So Ogden River drains out of Pine View Reservoir. So yeah, I'm going to go through some old photos. I'm sure many of you have maybe seen these photos or even been part of this project, but this is a pretty epic one. So here's some before photos, before the 2010 Ogden River Restoration Project. That's how people treated the river back in the day. It was really just try to protect the riverbank, throw in some tires, throw in some concrete, whatever junk you can, just to keep it contained. Almost treating a river like a nuisance instead of an asset. Wasn't really a place people wanted to hang out at. Didn't feel safe to float down, didn't really want to fish in it. I don't think there were many fish even living in there. Yeah, not a pretty sight. I used to protect riverbanks with just throwing some concrete. You break up a sidewalk or whatever, throw it in the river, try to keep the bank where it's at, but not ideal. Yep, they pulled out some cars. Back in the day, I guess if a riverbank was eroding, they're like, hey, throw a car in there. Like, just ridiculous stuff. So they pulled out during this whole project 7 full automobiles from the riverbanks. Pretty crazy. Just a picture of more junk. I don't know if I was in the river navigating it or trying to fish it, you'd trip over that shrapnel crap. Just not good. Another picture. Bunch of tires pulled out of the river. Pretty ugly. Here's a before picture of the Ogden, just upstream from the Gibson Bridge. You can see how filled in it is. There's some tires on the river right bank. And here's a picture after. So the project was done in 2010, 2011 timeframe. They kept some major trees. They got rid of a lot of the unnecessary stuff. They added some boulders, spread things open, put in some trees, just made it more of an aesthetically pleasing place, and then help restore the fish habitat as well. Here's an after picture of the Ogden just west of the Lincoln Avenue. And we wanted some good access points. We wanted people to go down to the river's edge. And so this is an ADA ramp at Grant. Just allows people to just feel safe getting right down to the river's edge. If you go down here, see families down there all the time, just enjoying the river, enjoying this natural resource that the city has. Observation point is just right off the Ogden River Parkway Trail. We got a trail that goes right along the Ogden River and even the Weber. So that's a really popular one that people are always biking and walking. Another after photo, you can just see the bank armoring with the boulders, not using cars, not using concrete, just more of a natural feel to keep the river where we want it to be, and just aesthetically pleasing as well. Here's my statistics from the project. 1.1 mile river restored from Washington to UP Railroad. There's 7 full automobiles, like I said, so 5,684 tons of recyclable concrete and metal removed. 2,460 tires, 2,460 tires removed from the river. A lot of junk in there, so it's a big project, a big cleanup. And the results of it is the river is now a blue ribbon fishery. So that status essentially indicates that a water has been reviewed by the Utah DWR biologists, and it has fishing quality, a quality outdoor experience, quality fish habitat, economic benefits. So a big upgrade. People actually want to be in this river, and so it's awesome being part of a city, an organization and teamwork that cared enough to put in the money, put in the time to turn the Ogden River into what it is now. So get out and enjoy, take care of your rivers. They're for you guys. We encourage volunteer work, help clean up trash, help plant some vegetation along the riparian area. Because that's one thing is with these projects, it's not just one and done and then we just move on. They constantly need monitoring and maintenance and cleanup and planting new vegetation. So we encourage you to get involved. Another thing we just have recently done, so it's Green Bike. It's a public bike share system. The Ogden River Parkway Trail is really popular. We threw in some e-bikes, bikes that you can go and rent, and just cruise along the trail. So we have 4 so far along the Ogden River Parkway Trail. We just find that the more people are by the rivers and enjoying them, the more they want to care about them. And so that's a fun thing you can do in Ogden. There's one of the botanical gardens. This is one of the entire system's one of the most popular stations, even including Salt Lake. There's one by the rodeo grounds. I'll switch gears. I'll jump into some projects that we've done on the Weber River, some in the recent past, and then one that we're working on currently. So right now I'll jump into one that we finished up in March 2025 in the Fort Buenaventura area. And so in kind of the history with this area, in 2011, there's some major flood damage done to the Fort Buenaventura area, specifically the Serge Simmons ball field. So you can see from this photo in 2010 what the river was doing, and then 2011, those high floodwaters just busted through the bank and then cut right through the ball field there. And essentially just when it entered back into the river, it just zippered that whole new stream down through the ball field and caused a lot of damage. And so in 2013, kind of scrambled and just wanted to push the river as far away from the ball field as they could. And that worked for a while. Oh, here's some 2011 photos of it ripping through the ball field there. See some light poles right in the middle of it. And then in 2023, that big year, pretty much put the river back to where it exactly was at 2010. So setting it up to repeat another 2011 catastrophe. So right, we can't have this. We got to do something. So we got river restoration involved, an engineer plan together. Oh, here's some photos from 2023, what it looked like. So you can see the undercut and the damage that was done. On the left, that row of boulders is what was river left. So this is looking downstream, that photo on the left. That row of boulders was protecting the bank right there, and the river just jumped right over it, cut through it again. And then that photo on the right is where the river in the past entered back into the Weber. So that's like the north end. and it shows that little pipe there. The end of that pipe was a storm little discharge pipe, so you can see how much the bank eroded. And so we needed to jump on something. So last year, we did a project. So you can see on the right photo is the 2025 repairs compared to the 2013 repairs. And so the idea with this 2025 project that we just did was spreading the floodplain, so splitting the flow, letting the river go where it actually wants to go, except protecting that outside bank. So respecting that, and so the river goes both straight and then curves around too. Added some boulder veins, a whole row of toe boulders, habitat boulders, and so hopefully that helps just spread the river out, give it some room to breathe, and protecting the bank in the process. And it brings the river closer to the people, right? So it's like you don't got to cruise across this whole barren field to get to the water's edge. It's right there. So fishing access, and there's like a disc golf area right in that spot. So the project approach is split into two sections: north surge, south surge. We installed the irrigation system for revegetation, planted some erosion control blanket, a bunch of different bushes and riparian vegetation. And so we wanted to water those, get that bank vegetated, because that's the goal, is to not just throw boulders everywhere, but to get some life growing, get a good root system in the banks. So this is the north section. So we added some slab stone steps for river access. With dealing with high human density, just you want to guide people to where you want them to access the river, and so they're not trampling through vegetation and causing more erosion. So putting an actual step access, and this is just upstream from the kayak park too, and so it allows people to get into the river and then float downstream to the kayak park. Picture on the right is just aesthetic reasons. I think someone actually got married in this area, which I wish I would have like crashed it and took some pictures, but I didn't know when it was. But it was cool to hear just that we did a project and someone thought it was good looking enough to have a wedding there. So still in the north surge area, so you can see there's tiered boulder terraces where the 2011 flood zippered back that bank. So if that happens again, because the whole area with the ball fields, it's a low elevation. It's in a floodplain. When the floodwaters get high enough, there's nothing you can do really, except just protect where the water is kind of going out of its normal limits. But hopefully this will prevent from it cutting through the fields again. And then this is the south surge section. And so to slow down the velocities on the outside bank, there's 3 boulder veins. They're really stout, 9 feet deep, anchored 40 feet into the bank. And then boulder toes along the whole outside bank that are 8 feet deep. And then threw in some habitat boulders. And I've been seeing fish, I've been seeing ducks, people fishing. It's awesome. And then this is south surge as well, just looking downstream on the left. It's where the flow split, and then where they join back in together again. All right, another project we did on the Weber River. It was not too long ago. It was the Ogden Kayak Park. It's rebuilt in 2021. And so with that project, there's 3 whitewater features involved. There's a fish passage, 2 boulder staircase access points, concrete access ramp. So it's a good recreation spot. People are drawn to it. There's a little observation deck. Pretty good flows ripping through there, especially in 23. But it's fun seeing some kayakers, and I actually saw a person be able to surf one of the waves one of the times. It was tough for them to get up, but they finally did it. But then 23 happened, got some flooding, and it caused some chaos at the kayak park. You can see some photos there, just the size of the woody debris that was floating down the Weber during that event. And so the aftermath from that flooding event, fish passage totally filled in with some deposition. You can see the hang up on that island of all that woody debris. And so the picture on the left is looking downstream from river left bank. And the picture on the right is looking upstream. So that fish passage was totally plugged up. And so I got with River Restoration again, got a contractor out there to clear that out and see if we can help prevent that from happening again. So the spring 2022 is when it was recently finished. 23 is showing the damage, and then 24 is after we repaired it again. And so out of this picture on the right, a little upstream, we put in some big boulders to help shift the flow to river right down the whitewater feature channel. And so hopefully that directs more of the sediment and the deposition down the channel with a higher velocity, so that won't happen again. And then the project we're currently working on, the Weaver's just down from the kayak park, and that is the Ogden surf wave. So this is an area right next to the River Parkway Trail, which I highlighted in purple. That's a paved path, goes along the Weaver River and the Ogden. And then also the Ogden Trackline Bike Park. So it's a little single track, little skill feature area in the end. Fun, just place to take kids and have them learn how to mountain bike. A little wall ride feature there. So the existing conditions at this surf wave location, there's a nasty weir. It's an old abandoned weir. Used to be used by Union Pacific for diverting water for steam engines, and they don't need it anymore. They don't have a water right for it. It was just a major fish barrier. And so we just knew this was a problem, and we wanted like, hey, why don't we utilize the elevation drop, convert it to a surf wave, and then also add a fish passage. And so I think Eric was one of the first ones with that idea, and so we're like, let's make it happen. Went after some grant funds, got River Restoration involved. And then I had the support from the mayor, Ben Nadolski, Justin Anderson. They've been totally supportive of this project. There's another picture of that weir. If you look closely, you can see like rebar sticking out of the concrete. And this is just downstream from the kayak park. So you get a kayaker or a tuber that goes over this thing, not gonna be fun. Yeah, existing conditions on the bank, you can just see some busted up concrete right next to the bike trail. It just doesn't look good. So the idea with this is, yeah, adding the surf wave feature, fish passage, tailwater control. There's some concrete access ramps. There's gonna be a lot of slabstone steps. Those steps that I showed you in that surge project that we did in the past. So it'll look good, and we're conserving a lot of the major cottonwoods out there. And so the idea is just to, hopefully if we build it, they will come, like have this place be a rec center, drawing people to the rivers, kayak, surf, produce a little standing wave. And so they're, like Bend, Oregon has one, Boise has one. This will be the first in Utah to have a river wave. And so the construction costs, $3.2 million, and that's for the whole project. It's not just the wave itself. It's actually a pneumatic system. It's controlled by like an air bladder. So it's adjustable. So if like high flood waters, you can lower it all the way and let a lot of water cruise down the Weber in the spring runoff. But you can essentially extend the season to be able to have a surfable wave. And so it wasn't without the help of some grant funding. Utah Outdoor Rec Grant, they awarded $750,000. Ramp, $492,000. WRI is $50,000 for the fish passage portion. Then we got the contractor out there right now, Readout Restoration, riverrestoration.org designed it. And so we should be wrapping up construction by the end of this year. Yeah, hopefully it's kind of a first stage in building the community in that area. It brings in some, I mean, there's like the roosters out there, but it's right next to the Envy building. Hopefully it just draws some good business to the area. That's just a photo of the system that would kind of help kick up the wave. So there's like a bladder underneath that, and you can raise it and lower it. Extent of the use of the season, yeah, provide flood control when it's all the way lowered. There's some photos from Bend, some people surfing on that, so that'll be in Ogden here shortly. So I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, rivers are here for us to enjoy, but also take care of. My name is Phil Suter. Please contact me if you're interested in some volunteer work. I can get you in touch with the right person with Ogden. So appreciate your time.
Thanks. All right, thanks, Phil. Getting people down to the rivers really helps with stewardship, and getting them to love the rivers is what we want to do. Are there any questions? Over here.
I'm just curious that we kind of live in a day and age where you have to be careful with liability, and where the city is building these appurtenances. How have you addressed the liability that's kind of associated with these activities?
Just some signs so far. It just says use at your own risk sort of deal. That's what we've done so far. And hopefully nothing bad happens past that. But yeah, I mean, we just inform the public like this is your risk you're doing here, entering the river. But